Damn, they're like rodents. Oh well, let's go back to work here. Wait a second. What's she doing? Now tell me, I know a few of you out there would be like, man, that thing in my freezer. Ah, look at the look. Alright, back to work. Mr. Raceboat. Well, come on. Let's go do something. Yeah, I guess you noticed we're walking. Where we're walking, we don't need roads. You see, all work for Mark and no play is a bad, bad thing. So, it's time to go play. Hooked up the new GPS and it seems to be working fine. So why don't you and I go take a ride? nightlifers, I'm sure the wind is howling, so I'll make this short. I know this looks like a typical harbor in any city, but I told you I'd take you somewhere, so I did. This is the spot, supposedly, it's within this general little basin right here. But according to the GPS, this is the spot that Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner while he was being held prisoner on a British ship. And right over there is Baltimore City, and just before the city you can see a green hill. You probably won't be able to see it on camera, but that's Fort McHenry. So they sat out here and launched bombs at us, and then some dude wrote a poem and they tied it to a drinking song, and we've got a national anthem. So here's my showing you all a little bit of freedom today. But now it's time to get back because we got weather moving in and we still got a boat to put away. We may have to go chase these dogs down and make them feel bad about being out here. So nice I can do it with just 2 fingers. In this water, there's no power steering. Right over there. That's a ride. I saw a 62. New all-time high in this beast. 62. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna fix this real quick. Before I lose it. 62.2. That's a new world record, this thing. Now you gotta remember, that's 500 plus horsepower pushing around this old girl. She's a beast. And of course she's a little bitchy. Got some old gas in her and, you know, lack of use. Having a little trouble shifting in and out of gear. Same old crap, you know. Hello, Mr. Spider, you better run for your life. It's just minor stuff, no big deal. But man, when this thing runs, it runs so nice. It makes everything just wash away. I used to be able to parallel park this thing. But since we've gone with the new outdrive rebuild, not so trusty about heading it straight into a dock without knowing reverse is definitely going to be there. But you can definitely do it with this big monstrous motor. So I told you all it's taking you somewhere. I hope that was good enough. Well, race boat life, baby. So now it's the fun time. We got to go pick it up, take it up to the house, flush it, wash it, dry it, and do all that within the next hour or so. Because if not, I'll have to put the top on when it's wet. We might as well just put mold right in there with it. So this is where your passengers normally get off and say, yeah, we'll meet you up the house. We'll get the grill started and the beer's chilled. Well, lucky enough it's only me this time, so don't have to suffer that indignity. Not bad, huh? Done it once or twice. Time to get that nasty bay water out of there. I have no clue what that white smegma is. That there, I know what that is. That's 496 of American horsepower there, baby. Ah! I'm sure I've said 1,000 times on these videos about how solid American made this bad boy is. Usually I think it's about 3 or 4 times stronger than the average boat. Average 24 wave crusher, that is. But the 19 also has its share of strength. I can't really account to the original Novas 19s. I don't have one, of course. I have an Allman. And Allman was known for building sailboats and big wave crusher cruisers. But in reality is they should have bought the 24 because that was right up their alley and probably would have turned them into a worldwide name. Even though they're still around today by the Sun. But so the 19 was built by a sailboat maker and a wave crushing cruiser maker, and when they built this, of course, like I said, they put the inner liner in it from a center console, which beefed up the weight, and then on top of that they built it like they're cruisers. This thing is solid. I've always said I could go through a bay liner and come out the other side, and I doubt if the windshield would actually be cracked. It's a ton of a boat. We know we do a lot of bragging about how tough these boats are built. Well, now we're going to prove it. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, how the hell are you going to prove that in your basement? Well, that's where these come involved. And this. We're going to tell you exactly how thick things really are. So I'm sure you're looking at this and going, what the hell? Is that some kind of Hawaiian tiki necklace or something? No, actually it's whenever we have ever had to cut a hole in either boat, we've kept every piece, just in case we want to put it back. But it also proves some points. Now the majority of these here are from when we put the cooling system in. We actually took basic core samples of the stringers at one point by putting in the pipes for the cooling system. So That's where they came from. So they're representative of basically the stringers. I mean, as you can see, they're the same color as the boat itself, the interior of the boat. And we can do some quick measurements here just to show you one side of the stringer. Let's put it on some freedom measurements and not that crazy metric stuff there. As you can see, we're set at 0. And let's pick a piece right here, right in the middle. That's almost a ½ inch of solid fiberglass on one side of the stringer. And that's why I mean, look at this guy. That's over a ½ inch. And that's why when we did the stringers, we did this. The way we did the stringers, because they're so thick of fiberglass, it didn't make any sense to cut them out, because at that point we might as well just build another boat. So we drilled a hole down at the bottom here, about a 1 inch. And we had this little gadget attached to our shop vac where you could actually just stuff it right up against it and it would stay sealed right against it. And then we drilled holes in the top, just ½ inch, whatever it happened to be. And we had this really wild looking spade bit that was about, I don't know, 18 inches long. And you could shove it down through this hole and basically just shred everything that's inside. And it was only balsa wood anyway. So it really didn't have a lot of structural integrity as it was. It was just something to build a form around, because all the fiberglass is really what makes the stringer what it is. And then we put the plug back in the bottom and filled the top with a 2-part expansion foam. I believe it was a 16 or an 18 pound. It was like the hardest they make, and they use it for like street signs and stuff like that, which was a whole lot harder than many balsa wood ever would be. And then we put our corks back in and refiberglassed everything up. And that is the way you salvage a set of stringers without actually cutting them out, because they're actually harder now than they ever were. Now there's a couple thinner pieces, of course. I mean, I'm not sure where this one actually came from, but it's only about a ¼ inch thick. You know, so I mean, but the majority, I mean, you can see them. They're all, I mean, like this guy here, that's just, you can see where some of the balsa was still stuck to it. 4.36, 3.35. That's a lot of fiberglass. And I wish I had one cutout. We put a hole in the bottom for a water pickup, and it was at least 3/8. I think it was more like a ½ inch thick of just solid fiberglass. There's no coring at all in that boat. So let's move on to the 19. Now, of course, everything here I also did the same. And as you can see, she's no slouch on her own. I mean, this is, I'm not sure exactly where a lot of these pieces came from, because they're from years and years ago. But I mean, that's, you know, a 3/8 at least. And that's some kind of deck piece, it looks like. I mean, here, that's probably a cutout. Now, of course, that's got core in it, but you know, that's a deck piece. Probably, I think that's where we took out a vent for, or filled in a vent, or no, this is probably where we moved the vents. So, and put them back in their original position instead of the 6 vents they had on it when we bought it, including 2 in the bow, which was just insanity. But we have that. And of course, you saw these big red pieces. This is actually the dash piece. You can actually see the back side of the dash. And the dash is huge. So, of course, you see the red pieces. Now, this is typical of the hull. You know, this is where we actually put in our docking lights. I mean, 2.73, that's a ¼ inch thick. I mean, this boat don't flex, it don't give. It's amazing. So yes, these boats are built like tanks, and there's just no other way around it. This piece here is where we put the through hull transducer for the depth finder. And when we say recent, we mean like in the last 5 years or so. So last time we used to actually run it, it actually pinged through the boat and it didn't seem to pick up at high speeds. So we actually did that, but this is actually at the bottom of the 19. And as you can see, it's almost a ½ inch thick. And that's solid glass. There's no core in there. So yes, these boats are built like tanks. The cores don't lie. So when I say that I just set a world record of 62.2 mile an hour, that's a big deal in one of these boats. I mean, we're talking about pushing 500 horsepower to do that. I mean, I'm sure I could go with a better setup, maybe a Mercruiser and an LS6 motor or something like that, but yeah, anything that's in this boat right now besides the GPS you could pick up in 1972 when it was built, 73. So you can say she's pretty original, but she's still a monster. Time to put it away. When we say world record, we really mean it. I don't think there is another Nova 19 that has gone 62.5, 62.2 mile an hour. Even the one with twin 302s, yet being 8 foot at the transom here, you can get a lot of motor back there, but that's a lot of weight to haul around also with all them exhaust manifolds and such. But until somebody comes around and says, hey, I got one that'll do 62.3, this is the world record holder. Please hit that like button down there and subscribe to our channel. We really need all the help we can get. I'm sure I've said about 1,000 times on all these videos that this guy, yeah. Now I'm sure I've said, let's do this again. One last time. Now, most of these here are, I would say the majority that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16, 32. So yeah, there's enough here almost to cover. Let's do that again. And this is where we go to the film we shot in a boat. This is where we go to the film we shot in a boat. Can't seem to find it. And I'm not sure. We'll have to edit this out as I go through. And probably should quit saying and. So that's our race boat as on. Bam, 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 bump.